Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to SaberComics, your place for all things review. I am your host as always, Saber King. I hope you all had a fantastic and safe Thanksgiving yesterday. You ate well, you spent time with your loved ones, and you just enjoyed the Thursday. But now we are going to get back to our regularly reviewed schedule. And today's review is actually a special one because I will be taking a look at the 5th episode of Season 2 of The Mandalorian, aka Chapter 13, titled The Jedi, directed and written by Clone Wars creator himself, Dave Filoni. What makes this episode very, very special in my eyes, in a lot of people's eyes, is it is the first debut of Ahsoka Tano in live action. Yes, finally, after nearly 2 decades, this character has transitioned from animation to live action. And boy, oh boy, did this episode show that it was very well done. It was very, very well executed, and it could potentially be a backdoor pilot to Ahsoka getting her own show, as we've heard rumblings that Disney is looking to give her her own show, but they're waiting to gauge just how well this episode does, and I think by the end of next week, they will consider giving her show. Hopefully Dave will be an executive producer, but that's neither here nor there. We're getting far ahead of ourselves, so let me explain why I have just now chosen to review The Mandalorian. It is unfortunately because I have not really seen so much request for it, but also I don't know if you guys are either caught up with The Mandalorian or if you've never seen it. I don't know. But either way, this is the perfect opportunity for you to go watch the show if you have not. If you are a season behind, then watch the first season, then watch this season till you are all caught up. But I am going to keep this non-spoilers for the sake of things. However, if you have seen Clone Wars and Rebels, then you should be relatively safe because her character is pretty much the same as we saw her at the end of Rebels, which, by the way, if you're curious, The Mandalorian does take place about a half-decade after Return of the Jedi. So at this point, Ahsoka is in her mid to late 40s. Actually, mid-40s. I apologize there. Alright, so let's just get into it because I'm very excited to talk about this. Okay, so the episode picks up with Ahsoka Tano. Yes, we don't actually waste any time in seeing her live-action debut portrayed by Rosario Dawson, as she is on this planet that Bo-Katan had mentioned, going up against what appears to be a part of the old empire run by the Magistry character. And of course, Ahsoka is looking to free prisoners on this planet, but that is easier said than done, as the Magistry refuses to grant her permission to release these prisoners. So Ahsoka says that she will be back in a day to decide the fate of the Magistry. Now, of course, at that same time, Mando finally arrives with Baby Yoda to find Ahsoka and hopefully get her to train Baby Yoda in how to use the Force. Unfortunately, as soon as he lands, there is, of course, a problem. He is immediately hired by the Magistry to assassinate Ahsoka Tano. Of course, in his mind, this is the perfect opportunity to find her because, well, he doesn't want to kill what could potentially be this kid's best shot in learning how to control his powers. But, thankfully, it doesn't take long for them to run into each other, as we get to see a pretty short badass fight between both Ahsoka and Mando. But after that, we do get to see Ahsoka communicate with Baby Yoda and figuring out what is going on with him. Essentially, this all boils down to her learning his real name, his backstory, and why she, unfortunately, doesn't want to train him because of how close he is to Din Djarin. But we do get some cute scenes of her teaching him the basics of how to use the Force via telekinesis. We even get a great callback to Ahsoka explaining what the Force is to Din Djarin, who has never heard of it or experienced it up until Baby Yoda came into his life. And it's just all some great, great stuff. I really loved how Dave went about handling this, and just overall, everything is perfect. So after that, Din Djarin helps Ahsoka on the condition that she train Baby Yoda in how to control his powers. This leads them both to sneaking into the Magistrary's palace, trying to free the prisoners, which they of course do. Then we get to see a badass fight between Ahsoka and the Magistrary with Ahsoka's white dual sabers and the Magistrary's spear/staff made of pure Beskar. This was a awesome fight from beginning to end, feeling like something out of Salmon Samurai or, of course, Yojimbo, etc. I really loved how the choreography was on full display here between these two. Now, what we also find out is that Ahsoka is looking for Grand Admiral Thrawn. Yes, Thrawn is indeed alive and active around this time. If you did read the expanded novels in the new Disney canon, but that's not the point. The point is that this is what Ahsoka is doing. Now, this leads to a lot of questions if you did watch the series finale of Rebels, and I think this is where a backdoor pilot for an Ahsoka show could really come into play, plus a sequel series to Rebels, but, regardless, we'll talk about that in the future. So, Din Djarin and Ahsoka do part ways, and Ahsoka once again tells Din that she cannot train him, but she can lead him to a location, to a Force planet from the Old Republic that has a Jedi temple in it that Baby Yoda will be seated upon, and he will choose his destiny. If he chooses to embrace the Force again, he will send out a connection to a Jedi who will come looking for him. If not, well, then he'll just be negated to being a helpless little creature. So that's where the episode ends, and if you could not tell, I loved it from beginning to end. Everything was just so well done, so many callbacks, so many rewards for you being a fan of not just Ahsoka Tano, but a fan of the Clone Wars, of Rebels, and I really feel like Dave Filoni is a great director in his own right. I hope this leads to him getting to direct a future film one day, because the way he does it, the way he writes it, it all just feels so cohesively tight. There is no padding in this episode. Everything flows so smoothly. It's ridiculous. I loved Rosario Dawson as the live-action Ahsoka Tano. I think she did a great job emulating Ashley's performance and translating that to the small screen. The makeup department for her was also really good. If I did have one little complaint, is that Ahsoka's tendrils are a little bit shorter to how we saw them in Season 7 of the Clone Wars. In fact, she's actually wearing her Season 7 outfit with the cloak that we see at the end of Season 7. So I guess she just decided to ditch her Gandalf the Grey costume, but whatever. I had a lot of fun with it regardless, and I am looking forward to seeing how these next 3 episodes tie and wrap everything up. This season has just been amazing, and I really, really hope that we get to see Rosario Dawson come back as Ahsoka Tano in the future. So, yes, guys, I'm just going to go ahead and give this episode a solid A+. It was very good, very entertaining, very action-packed, and overall, I can see it being not just my favorite episode, but everyone's favorite episode of The Mandalorian Season 2, and putting it up there with the favorite episodes of the series, period. So yeah, guys, until then, let me know what you thought. If you are okay with me reviewing episodes of The Mandalorian, then you can tell me by leaving a like down below, commenting, subscribing, sharing this video around, and I will review the next 3 episodes when they drop. So yeah, guys, until then, this is Saber King saying,
This is the way.
This is the way.